While I clearly love getting new cameras and talking about cameras, using my cameras, there's a high likelihood that you should not be getting a camera. See, I recently got a comment for one of my videos where I said you shouldn't buy the Sony CV1 because it's better off buying a newer model iPhone, especially an iPhone Pro. These phones take great pictures. And I got a comment saying, is it worth it buying the Sony CV1 or a Canon G7X? I don't know anything about the Canon. Was worth $500 to $1,000, or getting a iPhone 13 Pro just for pictures while traveling. And this is a key thing here. So this is not only for travelers, but it's a key thing to note what you are going to use the camera for. I told him he should buy a Sony CVE10 instead. This is a camera in question because this is cheaper than the Sony CV1, which I also owned, but this does not have a fixed lens on it. This has the possibility to change out the lens. Right now I have fitted it with a cinema lens to try and make cool videos, but I can also put on my 50mm for my full frame, or the 16mm wide angle lens I have here, which is really a popular one from Sigma, or the 33mm new version from Sigma, which is on my camera, this camera right here, which is a Sony a6600. I even got him a few options like the Sony 11mm for wide angle, and a great standard lens for portraits or something. Just a standard going around is a great 30mm from Sigma, or Sony 35mm, or a versatile zoom lens would be the Sigma 18 to 50mm, or the Tamron 17 to 70mm. And then I got the reply that with these lenses the camera will be much more than he expected to use on a camera. And that's my gripe here. If you are looking into getting into cameras right now and you're looking at a budget, how much you're going to spend, let's say $1,000. I think there's a lot of people looking to get into cameras and looking to spend $1,000. In my opinion, $200 or something like that should be used on the camera and the rest of the lens. And then you are thinking you cannot get a new camera for $200. Yes, you can't. But if you go to Facebook Marketplace, there's a high likelihood that you will get a used Sony a6000 something series, like the one that's filming me right now. It's an actually quite old camera that's filming me here, but all of these 6400 plus cameras have a great autofocus. I have 4K capabilities, and they are also great. Everything that makes the difference is the lens you choose to put on the camera and not the camera itself. See, I have this camera right here, which is the Sony a7 IV. If I use this camera with a terrible lens, then you would see better quality pictures from this camera right here. This camera is about $700 or $800, and this camera right here is about $2,500. And this leads me into cameras is a hobby, and if you are not into the hobby of camera gear, then you're most likely not going to find yourself being happy with purchasing a camera. Instead, try to keep up with the newest of new iPhone instead, because especially when you're traveling, and that's something that I noticed. I've just been to Venice and Italy, and 90% of my pictures are still taken with the iPhone, and it takes so great pictures, especially outside. Taking photos with my cameras instead is something you want, like a stylistic shot. I really like the longer lens, like the 80mm or the 70mm to taking portrait with a fast opening, so it had this blurry background thing. You cannot get that with a phone, but you can get great travel photos, great photos from your family and everything else. The number one tip is just to make sure, if you get a used camera, get a used camera with one of the newer lens mounts, so you don't have to swap out your entire selection of lenses. My recommendation is to get the Sony E-mount, that's from the a6000 something series, or get a used full frame camera like the a7 II or a7 III or something, because then you can start investing into these lenses. Understand this when I'm saying it. Getting one lens or getting two lenses for your camera will never be enough, because you always want to seek out something new always. Right now I have like 1, 2, 3, 5 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lenses for my Sony system, and there's at least 2 or 3 lenses I could think of that I'm missing. I really want an anamorphic lens to make cool anamorphic videos, but I also am thinking of getting a long range lens to take photos of my kids when they're doing sports. And I'm also thinking of getting even wider lens for vlogging. So that's at least 3 times $2,000 that I'm looking in investing even further in the cameras. Just hear me when I say getting into cameras is a money pit. You have to spend money. That's why cameras is a hobby, which is some of the reasons that we all talk about it all the time. We love it, but we also kind of hate the money we have to spend on it all the time. But it's more than just spending money. If you're just looking to get great photos, then get the newest model iPhone Pro or something, because you will take great pictures. I promise you that. If you agree or disagree, I'd like to hear in the comments. Thank you for